Hey now, and how are you doing? Want to welcome you to the next episode of Peace, Love, and Bring a Bat. Today we're bringing on my friend Samantha. We're going to talk a lot about God, and we're also going to talk about how we can help ourselves eating more healthy. How are you doing today, Samantha?
I am doing really well, and I want to thank you, David, for having me here. I am blessed to honor you, or blessed to be here, and honored to serve your clients.
I appreciate it. Yeah, no, everybody we listen. We always like to have the type of the spiritual, the motivational people in our lives to hear those stories, and then what we have to do. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll dive deeper.
So, with me, I have Western medicine has failed me numerous times in my life, and I am on the journey of healing my body and being able to help others heal their body as well.
Okay, well, what do you mean by heal our bodies? If we were just talking in the green room a little bit about generational healing and generational breaking the generational curses that we might have in our lives.
Well, for me, part of my story encompasses lots of trauma. And my way that I was taught as a child to be able to handle the emotions was bottle the emotions, eat the sugar. Um, that's how I was taught. And it transpired me to being in my mid 20s, 240 pounds, highly addicted to sugar. I was the queen to the three king size candy bars, plus all of the sweet treats. And then on top of that, I was to the point where I couldn't do a flight of stairs. I couldn't be able to have kids, even though I was married for 5, 6 years at that point. And I literally worshiped chocolate more than I worshiped Jesus. So that's how I was taught as a child. My parents were taught that as from their parents too. So that's how generational um, food trauma passes on. I've also been a part of the Clean Plate Club. I don't know if you were. Um,
Yep.
yep.
Yeah, growing up, I mean that we're a similar age. I'm probably older than you are, but right, you had to clean your plate. If you want to leave the table, you have to, there's many a night that I sat there all alone at the table because I wasn't finishing my plate. So I understand that.
Yes. And that can be another generational aspect because it, their parents, or, our parents' parents, our grandparents were probably taught that because they were potentially around the world wars or some sort of war where food scarcity was around. And so you had to eat every morsel because it was expensive or it was scarce. And so that's one of the ways with generational food trauma, how that could transpire in our lives. We hear so many people about yo-yo dieting, and that's actually stemmed from generational food trauma too. So this is why food plays such a crucial role in our lives. It really can hinder us if we just eat the wrong foods, or it can fuel us to be able to thrive and live a vibrant life.
Well, how would we know that we have it? Just because we're overweight doesn't that mean that it's generational foods? Could you explain to us how can somebody first notice that this is happening?
Um, it's all about being mindful and knowing, are you eating the foods because you're hungry? Are you eating because there was a breakup, some emotional thing that went on? Yeah, we got to really pay attention to that and find the cues within our bodies of, you know, are we really hungry? Is it something that we really need to be eating? Or is it just a comfort food? Like for me, chocolate was my comfort food. For somebody else, it might be alcohol. Another person, it might be some other type of food. So it's all about that mindfulness and knowing, is our comfort food truly something that we should be eating, or is it something that's going to make us sick and overweight and not living that vibrant life that God created us to be.
Okay, so now, by being mindful and being aware of that, which is always the beginning part of our journeys anyway, is once we can notice the challenge, the things we don't want. Now, what would be our next step to once we identify it?
So our next step is to um, be aware, and then if it's due to some sort of emotional attachment, try and work through the emotional side of it. But it's really going to be helpful if you have somebody that can help you work through it, whether it's a friend, a family member, or a professional like myself who can help you work through those steps. But really knowing, it's starting to come down to know your body and how does your body react to the foods. How does it really make you feel after you eat the foods? So that's really just taking the steps of mindfulness that much further down.
Okay, and what do you mean by mindfulness? And we always hear, a lot of us hear about it. I mean, you and I are in that understanding of what mindfulness is, but could you explain it to some of the other people?
So mindfulness is really being aware, taking the sensations of the food when you take a bite of food, slow down, just don't eat it in 2 bites and then your food is done. Slow down, chew your food. We're meant to be chewing our food. I forget the exact number of times, but I want to say it's at least 20 times. The same bite of food 20 times, chew it around in our mouth, because that helps to um, increase the saliva, which has the enzymes to help break it down in the stomach. But a lot of people are just in this go-go world of fast eating. We're in the fast pace, so we got to be slowing down when we're eating, being able to notice the sensations, the textures, the taste of the food, use our 5 senses, and become one essentially with the food as you are eating it.
Right, which I think is always the best thing to do. I don't. I notice often I'm the first one to, and it's not a race. I
Yeah.
feel that I rush through my meals, but there are times, depending on the flavors. I just recently had a great meal that I took my time. Like each mouthful was so good. And that was a completely different experience than just eating just for the sake of eating.
Yes. And when you're eating too, with being mindful, you don't want to be on your phone. You don't want to be scrolling. You want to be able to just be with the food and notice, how is it making you feel? Yeah, are you full? And then are you just, because you were taught as a kid, finish up all the rest, even though you're already full? Because you've been eating slow, your body's being able to process it quicker, or not quicker, but be able to help you realize that, hey, I am full. I need to just put the plate away, even though I don't have every piece gone. It's okay. You don't need to eat everything that you put on your food.
Right, and I think that's the change that people like you and I are on the clean plate crew.
Yeah,
Really, learn that you had to eat it all. That it is okay to walk away. I mean, if you're at a buffet, make sure you have smaller portions. But it's okay to leave food because it's better to be healthy than finish your plate.
exactly. And the next thing that you want to be doing before you, say it's the middle of the afternoon and you're starting to feel hungry, it's really starting to be, am I really hungry? Asking yourself the questions, am I really hungry? Have I drank enough water? If I have not drank enough water, am I more thirsty than I'm actually hungry? So I always tell my clients, make sure that you drink some water first to see if it's really a hunger or if it's a thirst aspect that you're going with.
Like always drink a little water, which will also help fill up your stomach as well. Not
Yeah,
to fake yourself out, but also to make sure that what the trigger is, and identifying that. Now, how would you talk to somebody who might not know, like, oh, I drink water, that doesn't do anything for me? What would we work on that way?
Um, for my clients that say that they don't like to drink water, I tell them when they're just first starting off, add in some cucumbers or add in, this is fresh, and I will say, or you want organic, you don't want the GMO stuff. Put in some fresh fruit, some fresh cucumbers, whatever you may like, to flavor the water, and then start cutting back on that so that you can actually start to have the water. The bad taste might actually be because you don't have good, clean water. I know, shock in America, right? Our water's actually pretty tainted here in America with a bunch of chemicals, which are needed to treat it, but at the same time, it's making it into our drinking water. So need to have good, clean water. And if you're still drinking a lot of water, the amount of water that you're supposed to have per day, and no, I cannot give you that amount because it varies from person to person, health wise. The old saying used to be drink at least half your body weight
Right.
in water for ounces. But like I say, that's the old way of thinking. Now it's really like, for myself, I'm healing from a traumatic brain injury. In the beginning of healing my traumatic brain injury, I needed more water because my brain was damaged, and our brain is made up of a lot of water. So, just like a watermelon, our melons are made of mostly water.
Yeah, I mean, I've been really interested in hearing and talking about sometimes, even when we're tired, if you drink a glass of water, how we just need to hydrate ourselves. I
Yeah.
mean, I know when I've gone to acupuncture and I said, look, I'm having a little heartburn today. And they're like, how much have you drank? And I thought about it, and it wasn't enough water, because you can have a lot of bodily issues based on the amount of water we're drinking, too much or too little. So how would you
Yeah.
know? How would one person or me know how much is the right number? How would you be able to identify that?
I guess with my clients, I kind of still use that, half your body weight in ounces, but I kind of tweak it if there's some sort of kidney issue going on. Maybe we don't want to be drinking as much water. The other thing that's been helping me to stay hydrated is the Salina Naturally Celtic sea salt that has been hard to get. Um, if you take a couple of granules of that salt and put it on your tongue, and then have a couple of sips of water, that actually helps drive the water into your cells where it needs to be. So, I mean, it kind of depends on those factors. Are you having electrolytes like that, or are you just drinking plain water? I mean, we don't want to be flushing out all the electrolytes in the body. And so that's one of the things I work with my clients, is knowing how they feel. And sometimes the water just,
Yeah, I mean, because if you drink half your body, no matter what your body weight is, that's going to be a lot for your kidneys to be flushing through. I always,
yeah,
when I've done those type of cleanses and things like that, that's my biggest challenge is, go to the bathroom a lot more because I'm drinking, 100 to 120, ounces of water. Anything after 90 was always like, all right, that was just too much for me.
yeah. And that's another indicator, is we do need to flush out stuff, and
Mm.
drinking the water helps our lymphatic system, which is the helps to be able to flush out all the toxins. So, I mean, we need to be able to drink the water to take out the toxins that are in our environment, in our food. They're all over the place. We need to be able to take those out. Otherwise, we're going to feel like crap.
So no, while we're kind of flushing our system out in multiple ways, but how does that help us get through the traumas or the ability to start? I mean, obviously you're still working with a professional like yourself, but what are some of the other things that we can prepare ourselves to do as we're starting to become more healthy and more fluid?
So when a client comes to me, I don't work just on the physical aspect of the body. I help them with the body, mind, and spirit. So I work with basically the whole body. And so to prepare for that, you just have to be open and willing to want to help your body do what it was created to do from my great creator, which is to be able to heal. And so much of our food these days, especially in America, have been tainted with this chemical or that chemical, highly processed. And it's been hindering our body from being able to do what it naturally is supposed to do.
Hmm. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's really just opening up your heart, praying about it, seeking God's guidance, um, seeking your own knowledge. Do I really want to stay stuck in this poor health and not be feeling the best that I was created to do or to be? Or do I say, hey, it's time for a change? And when I started seeing a naturopathic doctor in 2011, I was ready for that change. The Western medicine in 2010, at the end of 2010, basically looked at me and said, you've got restless leg syndrome. Here's a pill. Have a nice day.
Right.
They never
Right.
talked about nutrition. They never talked to me about my mindset. They never threw in the spiritual side of things either. And when I started to do what my naturopathic doctor had told me to do, within the first year of changing the foods I ate, how much water I was drinking, having the right supplements, I was able to eradicate 80 pounds, had a miscarriage, but then went on to having my 2 babies that I have on earth with me.
Awesome. Yep,
Yeah.
that's awesome. And how do you integrate your holistic practices with? So it's not just about water, right? It's
No.
because if it's just water, okay, guys drink water. That's not it. How do you dive deeper into helping people not cure, really overcome the generational challenges that you were talking about earlier?
So when people come to me in my initial consultation, we really take a deep dive. We go off the deep end. And that helps me to, I do a facial analysis, which is showing me what may be imbalance with your body, or what areas. It uses reflexology. Like on your foot, you've
Mhm.
got different points for reflexology that tells you what may be going on with your body. It's also in your face. Um, from the lines and blemishes, your face shape tells me into your personality. I'm also certified as a Zyto specialist, which that is a software program, and that tells me what's in balance and out of balance and what I could use to be able to bring things back into balance. And then I just have a health questionnaire that I go through with my clients. And then from there, it depends on what I'm seeing within the initial consultation. A lot of people, I take down my shape reclaim journey, which is a 5-week program, because in the United States, so many people are dealing with chronic inflammation, and that shape reclaim program will help with that. But I deep dive it and I help them along the way with breaking the mindset, the mental aspect of, maybe it's they're a clean plate club member, and let's break this down. Why do we need to be a clean plate member? Why do we need to finish our plate? We're adults now. Our parents are, I mean, they still may be living, but they're not living in our house. So why do we need to continue that on? And I work through my clients with that.
Yep. No, it's right. It's exactly looking at the behaviors and moving forward with the behaviors that have been taught to us, and some of them still work for us. And why do they work for us, or how to modify them to really work for us in a more efficient way?
Exactly. And I will tell you, it is not easy. It
No, it's
is,
not. It's hard to break any sort of patterns, especially as an adult. it's harder to break patterns. You still can do it. It's still
Yeah.
possible. So anybody who says, "Oh, you can't teach an old dog new tricks," you can. Just a little bit
Yeah.
more work, and that's really what it comes down to.
And when I hit a client that has that roadblock of, but I'm not really worth it, or it's just too much work, I really, one of the things that we work on in the initial consultation is trying to find the why. Why are they seeking my help? Why would they want to take the next steps to be able to better their health? Because when they have the tough days, because we all know they're going to have tough days,
Sure.
that why is going to help lift them out of those tough days to continue on the journey, to be able to say, hey, okay, that was a tough day. I knew it was coming, but I have my strong why, and this is why I'm going to continue on.
Yeah. So I hear you about protecting, being able to manage those tough days when you know it's coming. What would you suggest to somebody, as you mentioned earlier about that stress eating when something maybe isn't came out of nowhere? How would you be able to manage that generally?
So with those unexpected tough days, I really, my clients can text me. My phone is set up where my clients can text me. They're able to, shoot me a message and say, hey, I'm just having this hard moment. I'll help them. I'll pray through them with it. Um, but I will also have times where maybe I'm not that available. And so we try and work ahead to be able to,
Well, but
um,
so I'm a mentor also. I assist people. So is there any baselines that we can use, or when something comes out of nowhere, I call my personal reset button, that I teach clients on the consultations, is being able to reset yourself so that way, even when I'm not available, I can't be, and I don't want to be, beholden to everybody. I want to help them and teach them how to
yeah,
grow within themselves. Is there something like that that you do to when again, when life comes out of nowhere, it can't be the first call. Let's call Samantha, who might or might not be available.
yeah. I try and have my clients to have accountability people around them.
Okay, yeah,
But whether they're not doing this program or not, but people that are like, hey, I've got your back. I may not believe in this program that you're doing, but I've got your back no matter what. But if you don't have that accountability person, it's really just taking a step back and just taking those deep breaths. Maybe it's putting a post-it note on the refrigerator before, or your cupboards, or all the above, and just saying, hey, you've got this. You don't need what's inside,
yep,
and
yeah,
have
inside
that.
the refrigerator, yeah, no, right, right. It's the
Yep,
inside of us, not the inside of the refrigerator, that matters much
exactly.
more. Yeah.
I said that. I'm like, wait, but no, we need what's inside of us. We may feel like we're broken on those stress days, but we got to remember that even when we're broken, God takes those pieces, and those are the broken pieces that God loves to mold us and be able to shape us into who He created us to be.
Yeah, well, I always talk about any sort of brokenness, and I do have a faith in God that God helps you through. But it's also we need to do it. So a
Yeah,
kaleidoscope. Kaleidoscope is broken pieces that still become beautiful things. Same thing with a mosaic. Those are the things that we have to look at. Is again within ourselves have the ability, and I do believe through the energy that God allows us, and the love that God allows us, that is we're able to see it differently. We're able to put those pieces together in a more powerful way.
exactly. Um, because even through the cracks, we let the light shine through. And
That's how the light gets through, is through a crack. It can't get through a wall. It needs a window.
yep. And we need to break down those walls that have been placed on us, whether during our lifetime or our parents' lifetime, great grandparents. We need to break down those walls so we can live vibrantly as God created us to be.
100%. Okay, well, we've taken about a lot of your time, with about a half hour.
Yes.
So is it how can we contact you?
So my website is empoweredbynaturewellnesscenter.com. That's got my phone number on it. It's got the email. So that's probably a good point to start. If you just want to email me directly, it's Samantha at empoweredbynaturewellnesscenter.com.
Okay, well, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate the learnings that you gave us, and just thank you so much for showing up.
Thank you so much.
Okay, and everybody else, as always, I wish you peace and love in your life. And as you bring peace and love in your life, there's going to be times you need to bring the bat. Be awesome today. Bring your authenticity today, and that's really what it's all about. Bringing that awesome thought. Have a great day, and God bless.